to Enhance Your Pregnancy Naturally. I'm Dr. Jordanna Clarfield-Henry, your host, and today we are speaking with Larisa Makuch. She is a master results coach and CEO of Abundance Academy. She helps motivate women to stop playing small and trade their stress and overwhelm for a rich and fulfilling life where they're living their life with ease, joy, purpose, and flow. A major part of Larisa's journey was overcoming a 10-year infertility journey where she did everything recommended by various doctors and healthcare professionals. Her turning point was making a key mindset shift that led her to a dramatic change in her professional life, gave her a successful pregnancy, and a son she adores. As the author of the upcoming Stop Procrastinating Your Life Away, Discover the Secrets to More Time, Money, and Freedom, and CEO of Abundance Academy, a transformational training and coaching company, it's her mission to positively impact more than 1 billion people across the globe and allow the world to be a better place for all. Larisa, I'm so excited to have you here today, and I'm really excited to help all of our listeners learn about how they can use their mindset to affect their physical journeys through pregnancy, from preconception to postpartum. I know we're going to focus a little bit more on the fertility side of things because that is your personal journey and experience. And I know you use mindset to help you get through that. So I'm very excited to get going with you today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I am so thrilled to be here. I think this is definitely a topic that is dear to my heart, dear to my life. And I really wish that there was something like this available when I was going through it, and the resources that you've got so many beautiful practitioners that are coming together to share their best with women so that everyone can have an easier time and be more informed. So thank you for putting this on.
Oh, you're very welcome. Okay. So the name of the talk today is Working with Natural Laws from Preconception to Postpartum. So you work in the area of mindset. So tell me about your journey and how you got to where you are today.
Lovely. So I know growing up, I'd always wanted a 3-bed, 2-bath, double attached garage and, the nice yard, the white picket fence, good marriage, steady job, few kids along the way, maybe a dog, maybe not, but I didn't really think much beyond that. It was what I knew. It was what I grew up with. It was what I thought was expected of me as the next stage in my life. It's what I saw others in my world setting an example for us. Minus the white picket fence, that was like a romantic idea that I got from television. And we didn't have white picket fences where I grew up, but my life path didn't go very straight, right? It wasn't like, let's go to school, get the job, do. I ended up taking an entrepreneurial and then an intrapreneurial journey that I really never ended up having a real job. I always worked, I never had stability, but money always came from somewhere. And I never had an example of entrepreneurship in my world. So I learned from books, audio seminars. I have a huge library in my house right now because that's dear to my heart. I studied with people like Mark Victor Hansen. He's the one that brought the Chicken Soup for the Soul books out en masse and brought out beautiful messages to people and to their hearts. Studied with John Maxwell, with Marie Forleo, Tony Robbins. We've done all his programs and so many more wonderful trainers. And I started my first career in financial services. And that's where I learned about this world of mindset and personal growth. And it just snowballed from there. And learning really did become fascinating and something that I couldn't not do after a while because it made me feel really good. Like when you feel good, you just start to do better things in your life. You make better choices, you get better results. And all of a sudden life becomes more fun, life becomes more easy, and things just start to happen. And so there was a point I started studying and getting to know myself. And I learned that I am a pretty fascinating subject. And that might be a bold statement. I wasn't able to admit that at first. It was like, I was hiding. I was ashamed that I was studying myself because I'm like, ooh, it might be too selfish. Like people might think I'm self-absorbed if I just want to learn more about me and how I operate. And when I started working with another mentor, the dear late Bob Proctor, he just recently passed away. When I started studying and working with him, everything in my world changed. He taught me, he's like, yeah, I love myself. I know myself better than everyone else. And you should too. He gave me permission to do this thing I'd been doing secretly. And I think sometimes, especially as women, we need permission to do things that may be intuitive to us if we've never been given that permission before. I needed that external permission to say, yeah, you can spend time on yourself. Yes, this is a good thing. And really, he taught me how to take responsibility for myself, for my actions, without blame, without guilt, without judgment. Big words, I think, especially in this world.
Definitely.
And he taught it in a business sense, in a life purpose sense, but it was so fundamental and so profound to every area of my life. And it really did open me up to possibilities that I didn't even know existed. And so often he believed in me more than I believed in myself. And that's something I do for my clients. Like, some of them are like, I have this dream, but I just don't know if I can do it. And like, I know I wouldn't be talking to them if they didn't have the potential to do the things that they want to do. And I do put my faith in them because I see the potential in them. And how I really got into this is 4 years ago when I really started I heard about Bob before, but I really dove into Bob. I'd spent nearly a decade as an entrepreneur at a local Pilates studio, and it was a beautiful place. We had a teacher training center, an integrated health clinic. It's like, it's a healthy person's dream, right? You get to work out, you get to see manual. Whoops. Knocked my vase over. So excited. Practitioners along the way, you get to just be around happy people because happy people work out, and you get to learn and move and grow. It was just a great environment. But right after I had my baby, I was at a cafe with my husband, and it's like our first official date without my son. He's 8 months old, and I'm about to get ready to go back to work. And we're having a conversation, and my husband stood up, and I sometimes wear the pants in my family. But my husband stood up and he towered over me, and I'm just like, ooh, I think he's got something to say to me. And he's like, girl, I know you love what you're doing, but if you keep doing what you're currently doing, are you going to get to where you need to be?
And that's a profound question.
I know. And I could not say yes. And I was just like, but on the surface, everything seems good. Right. And I think this is something that I want to really point out. On the surface, things seemed really good. Deep down inside, he remembered a dream I had when we first got together a long time before that. Other people remembered this dream, and I had buried it because it just didn't happen, or it wasn't the right time, or it wasn't convenient. And it might have been hurtful, or it was too hard to do at the time. But I knew I had to take the leap, and it wasn't convenient timing. It wasn't anything logical. But I started the business at that time, and the seeds for Abundance Academy were planted like in that moment, in that statement. And I will forever be grateful. And I think gratitude is definitely something we all need to come back to more and more and more of the time. And really listening to people that have powerful messages, being receptive to that. So that's a little bit about how I really got started and got to be here with you today.
Well, that's amazing. And I'm so happy because I got to meet you, and now you're coaching me. And I mean, in the short time we've been connected, I have had massive shift in my own life, and like just my energy and my daily output and all that stuff. So that's one of the reasons why I asked you to speak with us, because I just think your message is powerful, and you're very clear and concise with how you deliver it, and you just walk the talk always. So I'm really excited to get a little more specific now. So can you sort of start talking about your infertility journey, and maybe start off where, like, what were some of the stages that you went through and the emotions that you went through?
Yeah. So I was previously married, right? My previous life, I was married, and I never thought that I would ever get divorced, but life happened and I did. And that was a big wake up call for me. However, I knew I'd always wanted kids, and I was getting older. And so when my current partner and I got together, we were both older, and we're like, second date, I'm like, okay, my biological clock is ticking. I want kids by the time I'm 30. And do you want children? Because if not, there's no point on going out on another date. This ends here, right? I was like, I wasn't shopping around, but I'm like, I just don't have time to pursue something if we're both not on the same page. And so we both were interested in having kids, maybe not right away, but there was that interest, there was that common bond. And I was ready. I was really ready. I'm like, I knew he was going to be a great father. And I knew, and he's in love with my son. But in that moment, I knew he would be fantastic. And so 6 months after we got together, we started trying to have a baby. And my mom, she had 4 kids. And I always thought I was like her. I'm like, well, my mom had 4 kids. She can sneeze and get pregnant. And of course that's going to happen to me.
Yeah.
And no, didn't happen. No, not the first year, not the second year. Nope. Like few years, 5, 10 years went by and nothing. And it was like, oh, well, you're too skinny. That's why you're not pregnant. You need to eat more meat. That's why you have candida. You have too much mercury in your system. Stop eating so much fish. You're too uptight, Larissa. You just need to relax. You work too much. You dance too much. You're too athletic. You just need to rest. Like I had so many people giving me so much advice and so many reasons why I wasn't getting pregnant. And everyone seemed to have an opinion. I started seeing alternative healthcare practitioners just to improve my overall health and well-being. And I learned so much from that journey. It was fantastic, frustrating at many times, but it didn't work at that point. So we started seeing fertility specialists. So we ended up going the medical route. We loved the natural way, but we ended up going to the fertility specialist because I'm like, well, clearly something I'm doing isn't working. And it's not like 1 year, it's been too many years. And so I found that I kept getting mixed messages from people. I felt confused. I felt inadequate. It was like I was broken or something was wrong with me. And I don't know if I'm sure you can relate to some of these stories and some of these feelings with your clients, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, anytime somebody feels like their body is not working the way they expect it to work, there's a lot of self-blame. There's a lot of, oh, like maybe I don't eat good enough. Maybe I don't work out enough. Maybe I'm overweight or underweight, or I shouldn't have played that sport in high school, or I wish I didn't do this or that. And there's so much self-blame. And, that leads to that sort of negative outlook. And the more you think your body is broken, the more broken your body becomes almost.
It's so true. What you focus on expands, right?
Exactly. Yes.
It's like, don't think of a blue tree. What are you going to think about? You're going to think
blue tree.
Don't think about it though. Don't think about it. Right? What you focus on expands, even if you pretend not to. That's a prime directive of the unconscious mind. I know that I remember sitting in one of my fertility doctor's offices, and he asked me, he's like, have you been part of the government program? And in Canada, we get, or at the time, I don't know if it's the same, you get one IVF covered if you're of a certain age. And I was of age. And I'm like, no. He's like, well, you're of age. And I'm like, oh, so I guess I'm of age. I have arrived. And that led to more pressure and the clock ticking. And it was like, every time I'd go in for these things, I'd get like so hopeful. And I'm like, I'm meditating, I'm relaxing. And this like desire turned into desperation, and it didn't work. And I think just like you said, sometimes we want it so bad that we almost shoot ourselves in the foot. And I know ultimately for me, what really shifted things from this like desperation, this, oh my gosh, I need it now, was something it actually is a chapter in Bob's book. And I didn't know what it was at the time. Now I can say it in words, but it's this idea of let go and let God.
Right. Yes.
I literally had to let go. And that sounds simple. In the moment, it was not, but I literally had to like let go of the crap, let go of all the talk, like let them out of my head, and focus on the now. And when I started changing my mindset and let go of the outcome, right, then everything started to shift. I really started to trust and move forward in faith. And this is something that we're not taught to do in school. We're taught to have faith in bad things. We're taught to have faith in fear. We're taught to have faith in so many things not working. How often are we really taught to have faith in ourselves and in just that things will work out? It's not common, is it?
No, I don't think it's common. I think that like hopefully in the future, as we become the leaders in our generation, that we start to put out more emotional intelligence into our education. Because it's so important for everyone to feel empowered, that they have the ability to do anything that they want to do. And, and I think fertility particularly is very tough for women because it's so different for each individual person. And it's not just us two, it's the partner that we're doing this with, and what stress we're under in our life. There's just so many factors, and to just be told like, oh, well, you're a woman, you should be able to do this is not helpful, right? And especially when you're going through maybe the more medical side of it, because there's stress and you're like dependent on, is it going to work this time? And am I going to get viable eggs, ovums or whatever? All that stuff is so stressful, and the stress adds to it. So let's talk a little bit more. I mean, you've already touched on this, but maybe we'll get a little more specific to talk about mindset and its impact on the fertility journey. And I know you mentioned a bit about unconscious mind. So let's share a little bit more about what is the conscious versus unconscious mind.
Okay, this is awesome. I love this. I could talk about this for 3 days, but we'll keep it short for the sake of the seminar. Mindset is an established set of attitudes held by someone, right? It's the way you think. It's the way you perceive things to be, and it's how you show up in the world. It's how you come into your day to day. And when it comes to the conscious versus unconscious mind, you have a conscious mind. I call that your head. Your unconscious, I call my heart. Okay. And your conscious mind, there's many parts to the mind, but we're not going to get into a massive science lecture here. But for simplicity, we're dividing it into 2 parts. The conscious mind is the logical mind. It's a thinking mind. It rationalizes. It's whenever you say the words, I think, or it's the way that you're taught to operate in school and to learn in school. It's the traditional way of thinking academically. It's very conscious. It's very important to have, but it's only responsible for 5% of our results.
That's a small amount.
I'm going to say 5, but 2 to 5%, depending on what source of reference you go to. The unconscious mind, on the other hand, is responsible for 95 to 98% of your results. And this is like your belief system, your values, your emotions, that the automatic responses. It's what keeps you alive. It's what keeps your heart beating. And this is responsible for 95 to 98% of the results that you actually get. It's everything that happens on a daily basis. And the cool thing is the unconscious mind is actually in every cell of the body. And I don't think we have neurotransmitter, and that is what actually takes that unconscious and bathes our entire body with it. And so one of the things that we don't have when we're young is we don't have a conscious and unconscious filter. So it's almost like we have a little filter between our conscious and unconscious mind, and we call that the critical faculty. And until you're about 7 to 9 years of age, you don't have the capacity to use your conscious mind effectively and to rationalize. Somewhere along that time you do. And so prior to that, everything that you're exposed to, even in utero, goes right into your unconscious mind. Some people might have things that happened to their mothers in utero, and they may not be aware that that's impacting them now. right? So this is why it's so important to really be mindful of the words you say, of the things you do, of the feelings you feel, because children absorb that. The kids are watching. They don't have the language to understand what that means and how to express it. However, deep down, they know. So they sense things through what they see, what they hear, what they experience, and what they feel. And that goes into every cell of their body, just like it went into every cell of yours. Now you might be going, oh my God, like, what have I said to my kids? Like some of us are like, well, pretty strange things. I hope I haven't like messed my kid up for life. Cancel that. We all do have a choice later on in life, right? But when you're aware, right? When you have this awareness, it's really important that you are more mindful of how you show up and what your choices are moving forward. Also, it takes some of the blame off you, right? We talked about blame. A lot of the things, a lot of your natural programming and your natural tendencies and your need to feel guilt, your need to put yourself down or self-sabotage yourself, or whatever comes up for you, whatever your flavor of that is, that right, probably happened prior to 7 years of age. And you probably adopted that belief system when you were a kid. You made the best decision you could at the time. However, you didn't exactly have effective critical thinking skills at that time. And so when it comes to the unconscious, I think we've adopted these things and we've carried them with us over the years. And we can start to let things go, right? Just because it took you like 30 years to get to this point doesn't mean it's going to take you 30 years to get rid of it. All you have to know is how to use the tools to be able to shift your world. And when you actually use the tools unconsciously, and just because we don't have time to get into all the nuances, I'm going to just say unconscious equals feelings. When you start to feel better, when you start to use the tools unconsciously and really use your feelings are unconscious, unconscious is feelings, then that's going to be the biggest game changer for you. And so we can talk about that later.
Yeah, sure. So if I'm on any, I guess, at any point during my pregnancy journey, whether I'm trying to get pregnant or I am pregnant, and let's say I've identified now, either now just listening to this, or maybe I'm just more aware in general, and I realize I've got some unconscious thoughts, some things that come up like I'm not good enough or my body's broken, those kinds of thoughts that I have. What are some ways I can shift those unconscious sort of beliefs, thoughts? Like, how do I take, like, let's say I would like, instead of thinking I'm not good enough, I would like to think I am far more than enough always, right? Like, I'm great, I'm fabulous. How do I take that thought and shift my unconscious mind?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is when we have negative emotion come up, and there's like so many different ways to do this. So I'm going to give you one way that I find just is really simple and straightforward and can take the emotion out to give a better emotion in. When you're pregnant, there's a lot of different hormones happen. Like you have a lot of hormonal shifts that are different. And so you are expected to feel more and feel different. It's natural. It's a part of the process. You can't dampen or avoid the things. However, when you are aware that you're like, I'm feeling this and it's actually not right, it's not serving me, and I don't want it to be this way, take a pen, take a piece of paper, and write out how you're feeling. Go ahead, bitch, complain, write everything out on the paper. I hope I'm allowed to use that word. No children.
Yeah. We're all adults here.
Pour your heart out on the paper, because when you put pen to paper, it gets it out of your head, and you can be more objective. It's not going to fix everything, but instead of keeping it in your head and creating a whole soap opera drama series like within 3 minutes, which is very possible, especially for women, get it out, get it onto paper. And that way you're honoring your feelings. You're not ignoring them. You're saying, hey, this is how I'm feeling. This is what's going on in my life. This is the circumstance, whatever. You need to let it out. You need to express it. Then take a clean sheet of paper and rewrite your reality to how you would like it to be.
Is there a way to do that? Like, is there specific language I should use that would be more impactful?
Yeah. So you want to make it truthful. That's the first thing. Okay. Because if it's not truthful, your unconscious mind is going to know. It's going to go, liar, liar. That's total BS. So you want to use language and make sure that what you are writing is the truth. It's not a lie. However, it's in an ideal world, you would say, like, I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm just sitting on my porch, breathing and relaxing with ease. I love looking at the steam from my tea and just appreciating my pregnancy and just knowing that this baby is in there. I love seeing the little feet kick, right? I'm just painting an example of a picture instead of being high strung and worrying about something. But like, how would you like it to be? So that could be a particular moment. It could be, sorry, my throat is very dry today. So if you can write something in the present in vivid detail, right? I said, I'm sitting on the porch. I'm looking at the steam coming out of my tea. I'm feeling relaxed. What are you seeing? What are you hearing? I hear the birds chirping in the trees. When you start to do that, you're going to start creating word pictures. You're going to start creating a new environment for yourself that's more appealing. And if you can't get yourself in the present with, I'm so happy and grateful now that, an alternative is something, it's more like a bridge. It's like, wouldn't it be nice if? So those are two ways you can start. So in an ideal world, put yourself in the present. I'm so happy and grateful now that. If that's like way too big of a jump for you, wouldn't it be nice if? Wouldn't it be nice if someone could come and give me a hug today? I freaking need it. It'd be nice if my compression stockings were even more cute than they are right now.
Right.
I had compression stockings. I had to go with those in the summer, right? I don't know what some of the women go through. That was like part of my experience. Wouldn't it be nice if I found the perfect outfit for my baby belly? Wouldn't it be nice if my child would go to sleep, right? In the early stages, wouldn't it be nice if my child would go to sleep and give me an extra 5 minutes to myself? Wouldn't it be nice if I could really get this burp out so my kid could go to sleep? Whatever it is, like, wouldn't it be nice if, and this is where you can dream. This is where you can start letting go and letting God and just let yourself enter that dream world. And what's really important with both of these, the negative versus the positive, is you want to notice the feelings, and you may even want to write them down at the bottom of the page. So write your poo-poo story, write your news story, and at the bottom, just like, what does that make you feel? How do you feel? And when you write the news story, how does that news story make you feel? Optimistic, hopeful, rejuvenated, relaxed, at ease.
And that, yeah, and that mindset's gonna go through your whole body. So
yeah,
so you're gonna get, relaxed, and the baby's gonna get relaxed if you're pregnant already, or your uterus will relax, your ovaries will relax, your whole body is gonna just relax with you as you're doing that. So we want present tense, and we want to make good, solid statements of the things that we want, and either I'm so happy and grateful now that or if that's too much for you because you don't see it happening right now and that's too much, wouldn't it be nice if, and just make those positive statements for yourself.
Yeah. And again, find the good feelings in whatever you write, even if you change it, write the bad, write the good. And out of what you write, make sure it's framed in the positive, and you tune into the feelings and take a minute to notice how that feeling is. It's like, oh, as I really think about that feeling, that does feel good. Like, where in my body do I feel that feeling? Like, memorize that feeling. And the more you practice feeling good, the better it is. Even after you've had your baby, it's a little more difficult to find the time to do this kind of exercise. So it might be like 3 lines really, really quickly, even if it's 3 words or 3 sentences. That's okay. It doesn't have to be a whole page. But it starts to shift your state, because your energy will dramatically impact that of your children, right? I know when I was in a high stress situation, my son would be like, hey, let's cry more. Let's not sleep. Let's just aggravate it. Right. And he just did it unconsciously. He didn't mean to, but he's like, hey girl, you're asking for it. So I'm going to give you what you're asking for.
Right. They pick up what you're putting down.
Yeah, they totally do. So the more you decide how you want to show up, the more they're going to respond accordingly. And I think that's something that you can use before, during, after birth. I mean, even if you're not pregnant and you have no intention of being pregnant, but you're supporting someone that's pregnant, still works for you, because your vibes will influence everyone around you. It's such a powerful exercise. So
great. Yeah. Thank you. So I'm just going to sort of push us through, because I know a lot of what you're talking about with mindset, conscious, unconscious mind, and all that comes from some of the natural laws, or some people call them universal laws. So can we touch on that and maybe pick your favorite one or two law to elaborate on that might be a little more in tune with fertility journeys?
Universal laws, these are laws that govern creation. And when we talk about creation, it's like creation of the world, of the universe. And in the fertility world, we are creating a new being. We are creating life within us. And that's just such a beautiful thing. And one of the things is, when you understand how the laws show up in your life and how to actually leverage them, you can start to understand what's going on around you, right? You don't have to blame yourself, because you're like, oh, well, this is how it works. This is kind of the rule of the game. And laws work 100% of the time for all people in all places. They're omnipresent. And it doesn't matter if you know them. It doesn't matter if you like them. It doesn't matter if you understand or believe them. They work and they're there. And one example I use is, I take this lip gloss, and if I drop it in Toronto, right, we have, like, from a scientific perspective, that's the law of gravity. That's a law. And we have clients in New Zealand. And if those clients would pick up their lip gloss in New Zealand on the other side of the globe and drop it, it would drop, it would fall, even though they're on the other side of the earth, right? That might seem counterintuitive if you don't know that we have something called gravity. And that's a law. It always works. And so the natural laws work the same way, and they can work for you or against you. And I think when you really look at the rules of the game and you follow the rules, you're going to realize that things happen for a reason. And you're going to just start looking for those reasons, because you can have reasons or you can have results. And you don't want to get into the state of blame. You want to just work in the most easy and natural way possible. So one of the things, there's two laws I want to share. I think they're really powerful and they're simple. They're really, really simple. The first law is a mouthful. Okay. It's the law of perpetual transmutation of energy. And it basically states that energy is, and it really is about energy moving into physical form. So that what you think about comes about. Your thoughts turn into things. And this is where we say, if you're in a good mood, your children will be in a good mood, generally speaking.
Right.
Sometimes they don't even have to be home to know that. They can vibe it before they walk in the door. Or people can sense things. They have this sensation. So the thoughts you have, they lead to the feelings you have. They lead to the actions you take. They lead to the results and the vibrations you put out in the universe. But everything really does come from a thought, and thoughts are energy. Everything is energy. And Albert Einstein said, everything is energy. That's all there is to it. Match the frequency of that which you desire, and you can't help but get it. This is not philosophy. This is physics. And so the second law I wanted to touch on is the law of vibration. And everyone thinks that, like, most people have heard of the law of attraction, but that's actually a secondary law. The law of vibration is a primary law. And it really talks about that everything is vibrating. Nothing rests. Everything is in a constant state of motion. And when you're vibrating at the same frequency, so if I, like, Jordanna, if I dial your phone number and I dial the correct number, that will put out a frequency from my phone to your phone. And then you will see my call coming in and pick up.
Right.
right? That is like a match in frequency. So I put your number down, which is a frequency, your phone picks it up and you can receive my call. And we do the same thing with the vibrations. And so everything is in a constant state of vibration. And so what you vibrate, you're gonna put out. Those vibrations are actually called feelings.
Right. Yeah.
So this is why we were saying the better you feel, the better things are going to be. And sometimes we aren't always going to feel good. It's not about like being in a permagrin state. It's not always being like, yay, I'm so excited. I'm having a great pregnancy. Let's post it on Instagram, because some days are not so hot.
Right.
The days that are not so hot, are you going to increase and amplify that by bitching and complaining? Or are you going to be like, I don't feel great. How would I like to feel? Well, maybe today I just want to feel calm. I'm going to go have a nap and really honor that. That might be your solution that day. Or I want to go for a walk, or I want a foot massage. Husband, massage those feet, please. But whatever it is, but if you, whatever state you want or need to be in, it's so important that you can get into those feelings more of the time that do serve you. It's not always about being high. It's always about, is it serving me? And is this a good thing? Because if it's not, you're just adding fuel to the fire. And sometimes you need a cry. Crying is great. It's very cleansing for the soul. But are you going to stay there for 3 days, or are you going to maybe stay there for 5 or 10 or 30 minutes? And that's when you understand how the law works. What you focus on expands. It really does.
So that when you're in a vibration that you're not enjoying, then that exercise that we talked about previously would be a good one to get you out of that vibration and into another.
Yeah. And another thing that's phenomenal for a vibration is gratitude. And this is such a powerful practice. And so often when you get into this state of gratitude or the energy of gratitude, you start recognizing what you have and who you have to be grateful for in your life. And when you can get into this elevated state, that does bring that state of emotion in. And the more you can come back to gratitude, I've actually had some clients that have gone through some very difficult things in their lives this year. And they'd be like, oh, pulled out my gratitude guide. And they would do a massive gratitude binge. And like 3 days later, like, life is so much better. Everything's okay. And it has this way of turning things around, because it takes the focus off of you, it takes the focus off the blame and really on the beauty and the appreciation of what you do have. It is so incredibly powerful. So that's the second really simple thing that you can do to massively shift your state.
Okay, that's such a good information. Like, I know a lot of people here out there, have an attitude of gratitude and all that stuff, but really, it's really a practice, right? You have to, I believe the most effective way is to write stuff down. But if you're in your car or something, then just having the thoughts are good, or saying them out loud or something. But just to shift that state of being over to the positive.
Gratitude is actually a practice and an attitude, right?
Yes.
So sometimes we don't really think about it, but when you practice gratitude is when you're doing, when you actually like take the time to pause and write, or to think in your car, you're actually practicing the activity or the action of being grateful.
Right.
But the attitude of gratitude is just constantly having it in your body, constantly living that way. And as things come up, just naturally allowing yourself to be grateful. And that really comes from practicing, right? It's hard to have the attitude until you practice how to do it.
Right. So like throughout the whole pregnancy journey, there's a lot of ups and downs, and things come unexpectedly. Sometimes we get an outcome we weren't expecting, or unmet expectations, basically through sometimes through the pregnancy or getting pregnant, or even the delivery process. Because there's a lot of women who ideally would love to have a natural vaginal birth, right? And stuff happens and you don't have that, or you didn't want to get that epidural, but halfway through your labor, you're like, I can't handle this. And I just, sort of maybe break down and decide to get this epidural that you were so against or whatever. I know personally, being a chiropractor, I was definitely going to be all natural. And it just didn't work out that way for me because I got exhausted and it was long. And so I did opt for the epidural, but I had sort of prepped myself to know that I would be okay with that. Like I was going to be okay with whatever happened because all I cared about was getting that baby out healthy and happy and me surviving too, right? Mostly women survive, but stuff happens. So how do we use mindset to get through those without the blame, the shame, like I wasn't brave enough to handle the pain throughout the whole thing, or those kinds of thoughts that come up?
Yeah, actually, I love that you shared that because I had a very similar experience, right? I was very natural, and 36 hours into my labor, they're like, I'm like, let's try castor oil. And I'm like, how long will that take? And before I even knew if it would work. And I was only 2 centimeters dilated 36 hours into my pregnancy. And I was 2 centimeters dilated right at the beginning. So I'm just like, I think I might need the epidural because I'm like, got energy right now, but like 8 hours from now when castor oil may or may not work, who knows?
Right.
I went for the epidural as well. And I wanted the natural birth at the birthing center and all like beautiful. And halfway through my pushing, my drip tube fell out. So it kind of did end up being more natural, but I was very grateful for that break in between. And at the time I was like, I wanted it natural. I had this preconceived notion, yet when I was there, I knew exactly why that had happened. I needed the epidural to have the break so I could have the successful pregnancy, but I couldn't have predicted that at the time. And so one of the things that I've learned from Reverend Michael Beckwith, and this is something that he talks about when difficult situations arise, right? There are 3 steps that you want. And sometimes they're not easy to go through in the moment, right? However, accept it. It is what it is. You can't change what's going on.
Right.
Accept it. Like sometimes circumstances are beyond your control in the moment. Okay, this is happening. It is what it is. Step 2, harvest the good. Right? I could have been down. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to get this epidural. I'm like, well, if this is a way to get the baby out, just like you said, I wanted the healthy baby. It is, I'm harvesting the good. There is an option, right? 100 years before, we may not have been here to talk about this.
Right.
We may not have lasted through our resources. So I'm like, wow, grateful that there are hospitals, grateful that there are experts in this fertility world that can help safely deliver the baby. So harvest the good. What good is there that's happening? And sometimes we can't connect the dots looking forwards, but we can connect them looking backwards. And when difficult situations arise, and when you're in that moment, you can get so emotional, but if the emotion is negative, it's going to fuel more negativity, right? And not in a bad way. It just keeps perpetuating that cycle. So this is where you have to look for the good. And when you do look for the good, you will find it, no matter how bad or devastating or difficult a situation is. And that's a very different way of thinking. The more we practice that, this is like expanding us and expanding our mindset and awareness. This is not like, let's just be happy 101. This is really deep stuff. But when we practice harvesting the good in any situation, then this is it. I just can't stress the importance of it. I'm going to leave it at that.
Yeah, no, I agree so much. Like, I had a relatively recent experience with a very toxic person. And I did go through that kind of exercise. At first I was just so hurt, and I didn't understand how someone could behave so terribly to another person, especially when I thought that my presence in their life was probably very positive for them. So to get that response back at that time was terrible. And I did go through with a friend of mine how to focus on what that negative experience actually gave me. And you know what? I opened up my own practice. Now I'm doing a virtual summit. Like, I got to expand my own professional life and become my own boss, CEO, and get into this next stage of life where I get to be this super successful. And it's because of me that I got here. And if I didn't have that experience with that person, maybe I would still be working with them and not on this part of my journey. So, but it took a long time and a lot of back and forth to really connect with the good from that situation. But yeah, I did. And I'm so happy I did, because now look what I got.
I am so happy for you, because I think the more we do that, it's not common practice, and you took the time, right? You accepted it. It is what it is. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad. It is what it is. It's irrelevant if it's good or bad. You harvested the good. You found the good in the situation. You found the opportunity. The third step is forgive all the rest, right? It's not your fault. It's not anybody. It doesn't matter. Forgiveness is about letting go of completely, and forgiveness is about you. It's not about the other person or the situation. And whether you're forgiving yourself, whether you're forgiving someone else or God, whatever, the divine, forgive, just let go of it completely. Just wash it away.
Right. Let go and let God, right? Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure we could talk for another 3 hours. But what I'd love to do instead is, how can, if any of our listeners are interested in really diving into this mindset stuff and working with you, I know we have some amazing resources and bonuses for all of our participants. So do you want to talk about those things?
Yeah. I have a gratitude guide I actually put together. And this is something that I used to go through the motions of gratitude and not really understand what it was until I had another eureka moment, and it just completely changed my life. It changed my energy, and it flooded me with so many good and powerful emotions. And so I started exploring gratitude and really diving deep into many different kinds of gratitude practices. And so I put this gratitude guide together for people that are brand new to gratitude, or for people that have been practicing gratitude and just want to amplify their practice and feel really successful doing it. So if you've been going through the motions of gratitude, you can learn how to really dive deeper. And I have 16 different ways for you to amplify your gratitude practice and feel successful doing it. So that is something that we're offering everyone here. I would suggest that you go download it, print it out. I'm a fan of printing because you'll get way more out of it. Print it out, keep it at your desk, keep it on your nightstand, keep it somewhere in your house where you'll come back to it often, and use it. Go do the exercises. So that is something that I've put out there for everyone, because I know it made such a profound difference to me. And if I had it before I had my baby, I probably would have used it, but that happened after. So that is gratitude guide.
Fantastic. Yeah, I've been using that, and it really has made a huge difference in my gratitude practice, because it just shifted. Like I was just going through, like, at the end of the day, like, sort of, I just write 3 things I was grateful for, but like the gratitude guide really helped me expand on that. And it's really, I mean, I continually am shifting my mindset working with you and all your tools. So I highly recommend that. So, and it's free for everybody who registered. So go get that guide.
And I know that you have a couple of different packages that people have to offer. So you asked if I'd be open to putting a couple of things in there. So we wanted to really take those, gift you the opportunity to get even more value if you were really interested in enhancing your pregnancy naturally, because you guys are here investing your time. And some of you have already invested your money. Some of you have not invested your money yet. But if you do want to invest a very, very, very small amount of money for like tons and tons of value, I don't even know the amounts, but I saw the packages. I'm like, ooh, these are really good. I think I should go through some of these. So we also have a mindset mastery coaching session, a 20-minute call that I am opening up to the first level and to your first tier. I believe it's to the baby banana level. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Baby banana.
That's the lifetime access to the videos level. And yours is the one and only special bonus in that level. Yeah, because I just thought I think everybody needs it, like really, really. And that level, I mean, that coaching call is worth more than the level itself. So
yeah, definitely.
It's really a worthwhile level to go to. And then in the VIP level, you have an even longer free session offering. Yes.
Yeah. So in the mindset mastery session, we'll look at where you are, where you're going, and give you some tools to move forward and some next steps. In the VIP energetic alignment session, I'm actually going to help you pinpoint the negative influences in your life so you can have a place to start in order to shift them quickly and permanently. And it's visual. It's really a very, very cool process that I go through with so many of my clients. And I think whether you're in your pre, during, or post part of your fertility journey, this is a massively invaluable tool that you can actually like walk away with and have some concrete steps to move forward with. Because when your energy is aligned, when you're vibrating at that high energetic frequency and you've cleared out all the stuff, really, really good things can happen. So that is a 45-minute call, and we'll actually go through a process that you get to see some evidence about. Yeah.
Cool. And it's a repeatable process, so they can walk away and do it on their own with anything that comes up as it comes along.
This one is actually, I work some magic with you. I go through some special questions with you, and you actually get to see some results. So we'll give you some concrete takeaways so that you can start identifying some of these things for permanent change. Yeah.
Well, I'm really excited that I hope everybody takes advantage of that, because I know working with you personally that it has been so impactful in my life. You deliver your messages very clearly, and you're a really excellent teacher. So I'm so happy to have you as my mentor, and I'm so grateful and thankful for you being on this call. And I hope everyone got an amazing transformation just from listening, and some great ideas on how to shift their mindset so you can have as optimal a pregnancy journey as possible, and just really focus on the positive and be able to take the unexpected outcomes or the unmet expectations and change them into the positive experiences. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for having me here. Make sure you guys go download the gratitude guide right now. Book your calls or schedule your calls right away so that it's in your calendar, because otherwise I know that you guys are busy and life will get in the way. So take the next 5 or 10 minutes and just go do that now if you haven't had a chance to do that yet. And let us know how we can serve you. I'm here to serve you guys. I am available. Jordanna is here to serve you. She is phenomenal. And everyone here in the summit really does have their heart and soul in their business. And we just want to see you guys thrive and have the most beautiful lives, the most beautiful pregnancies, children, everything that goes along with that you absolutely can.
Wonderful. So we hope you enjoyed this session with Larisa Makuch, and sign up for everything. Okay, have a wonderful day, and thank you so much again for listening.
All right. Bye, everyone.